Alright, hello everyone and welcome to week 9. Um, this week we're looking at intelligence testing and IQ testing. I have done a lot of IQ testing over time, and I think it really generates some interesting data. IQ tests, depending on where you are, your state's regulations, and so on, a lot of times it's an instrument that doctoral practitioners give. However, there are some instances where master's level practitioners will administer the test and discuss it while the doctoral level practitioner interprets it. One of the leading theories of IQ is the Carroll theory, which you see really exemplified in the Woodcock-Johnson 3 cognitive. It has basically 3 strata of different IQ abilities. The broadest is what's known as the G. G is a concept. There's been a lot of conflict. If you've been around counselors for any number or academics for any amount of time, you know that you can't get them to agree on any one thing. Well, so the idea of G is that there's this general measure of an intellectual ability or mental energy. Some practitioners feel like that's just a statistical artifact, meaning it came up in the numbers but doesn't have a real meaning. And others feel that there is this overall concept of a core mental energy and ability. Next, we see them breaking down into the G's, the broad abilities, like in the Woodcock-Johnson, GC stands for general ability of comprehension. So that's your crystallized knowledge or knowledge that you have. Other things might be the GS, which is processing speed. How quickly are you able to process visual information? And then within those are narrow band skills, which are very specific applications of skills which have some core differences. IQ testing, as you'll read, really came about in France when Binet needed an instrument to help identify children with special needs and determine what educational path was best. And then later that instrument was modified at Stanford University and is one of the more popular instruments now. As well, we're looking at academic achievement. And what I think is really interesting when I've done batteries is I like to compare IQ and academic achievement, because when they're not correlated well, it can mean a couple of things. If a child has a really high IQ and low achievement, it may mean that they're sort of this classic underachiever, that they're very intelligent, but perhaps the work ethic isn't there, or they're not in an appropriate academic placement. However, there are other instances where they outstrip their intellectual ability and actually outperform it. I once worked with a child who had an IQ of about 60, but he was performing a little above average academically, and parents had no idea that was going on. So we always want to look at how these things compare, and really, as you're going through this whole assessment, especially in your case study, you want to see what picture do all of these assessments create. Certainly you interpret them individually, but then what do these come together to create? Just like when you see a painting, you see the blue and the red and all the different colors, but you don't look at them individually. You step back and look at what picture does this paint. Okay, so those are some ideas about this kind of assessment. As always, I'll be in the message boards, and be sure to ask any questions you might have.